Welcome back to the Wizard Shop, and I always say never buy a CVT transmission, but if you did, or if you're going to anyway, I'll show you how to keep it alive and a little ownership update on Cubie. This is my 2013 Nissan Cube, and I've had it for quite a while. I've probably had it longer than most cars, Mrs. Wizard.
It's shocking.
I love Cubie. It's such a cool car. It has very easy entry and exit for me. After years and years of looking underneath cars, my neck is starting to bother me as I get older. And one thing I don't want to do when I get into my car in the morning is do the stop, drop, and roll, curl up into a ball and get into my car. I don't want to do that. With this car, I just plop down, close the door, and I go. It's so nice. Does it look kind of weird? Yeah, it looks kind of weird, but I don't care about that. It's very functional, it's good on gas, and it takes us very nicely to the yacht, Mrs. Wizard, doesn't it?
It will do that for us.
And it hauls stuff. I'll show you guys here in a minute. You can put down the back seats. It's like a little miniature truck. But I just had Junior Mint put new front hubs on this. It was time for hubs. They were growling a little bit. I decided to service the transmission just to see. It's only been 20,000 miles. How bad is the fluid? And I was shocked myself. Most people say to change your fluid at 100,000 miles, 80,000 miles. I say 50, and maybe even less than that.
But wait, Wizard, there's a lot of manufacturers say to never change it, and it's a sealed system. And
then you will have a destroyed CVT transmission, just like the Nissan Murano we're looking at over there. They're having issues with the CVT. We're going to look into it and see if there's any issues going on, if it needs a new transmission. Years ago at the place I worked at, I think in a year we went through 5 or 6 Nissan CVTs. We're going to show you why. But first we'll take a look around Cubie, do a little ownership update. So a lot of people think that this looks like a bulldog on the front end. I think they were actually going for the bulldog look, Mrs. Wizard.
They're going for something on here. I'm glad this is yours.
The front it's okay. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great either.
You have killed half the bug population on your grill.
Yeah. The side view on these, I really like the Cubes as far as the styling on the sides. It looks like a miniature 1940s or 50s car to me. It's kind of a square, kind of a rounded square. It's very interesting. I like the windows, the large windows. As you can see, it's not beat up or dented. I don't beat up my cars. It is a little dirty though. You go around to the back. It's also in decent shape. It has the pure drive, which I don't even know what that is, and I really don't even care. Mrs. Wizard does not like the asymmetrical wraparound window right here.
No. I like symmetry.
It is a Borg Cube, as you can see.
Is that special Wizard edition?
No, it's the Borg edition.
The Borg edition.
Mm-hmm. It's been a very good car. Let me show you guys and open up this tailgate here. I have added a little sound system to it. It's just a little subwoofer. It's a cheap one, but it sounds really good. But you fold these seats down, and I think they can even flip up. It's quite a lot of room in here. I can haul boxes of stuff, parts. We've hauled a lot of things down to the yacht, Mrs. Wizard, in this thing.
That we have.
Some large items that probably wouldn't even fit in a car fit in here. And we got almost 30 miles per gallon all the way down there. Not bad. Go around to this side, and there's a few scratches here. I don't know if a dog did that years ago, or maybe even my dog did it. I don't know. But it's got like a bluish black paint. If you look in the reflection, it's like black with blue metal flake or something. It's kind of interesting. Let's take a look under the hood. This is the Nissan 1.8, and it has like 120 horsepower or something. It's not much at all. But really, I mean, for what I use it for, I don't need 600 horsepower. It's just a commuter, it's comfortable, and it can haul stuff. We'll do an oil change on this on the engine as soon as we're done with the CVT. I've had no issues. I haven't had to really do anything to this car up till today when I had to do some hubs. It just goes and goes and goes. So this has electric power steering. There's an alternator and a water pump down there and AC, and that's it. So there's really not much to see on the inside. It's pretty boring. You guys have if you want to see the inside, check out the previous video we did on this car. Let's go ahead and raise this thing up and talk about CVT transmissions. So when I bought this car, I did have to put a power window regulator in the driver's door, and I had to do a catalytic converter and a few other small things, but that was it. I did get this vehicle from Euro-Asian Bob. He said, hey, I'll get you a good deal. I'm not going to fix anything. You just take it as is. And I agreed to those terms, and I got it really cheap. I think it was like $3 grand or a little over. It was pretty cheap with only 100,000 miles or something like that on it. It wasn't very many miles at all. I'm glad I bought it from him because it's been a very good car and really enjoyed it. Junior Matt has the pan and the screen and the filter out of this CVT transmission. Now keep in mind, I changed this filter and fluid and everything 20,000 miles ago. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and change it out even though it's kind of early. This may be a great video, and I'm glad I did because it is amazing how bad the fluid is and everything else. So a CVT transmission has basically two pulleys and a belt between them. And it's actually a steel belt. It's not rubber like you would think. It's actually metal. And here's a picture kind of like what they look like. And that belt running on the pulley all the time creates a lot of friction. It creates a lot of metal debris. Basically, to service these, you drain the fluid, you pull this pan off. Once you get the pan off, then there's a screen that bolts in right here. And also right up in this hole, there is the transmission filter. Let me show you guys some things that are very, very shocking. Let's head on over to where our fluid drain is. So Junior Mint has the pan down and everything apart like I mentioned, but I want to show you guys a little bottle or a can I have of fresh CVT NS2 fluid, which is what this transmission takes. It's nice and green. You can see through it. I could see you guys on the camera there. That's what the fluid should look like when it's fresh and brand new. This is the screen that I showed you guys where all the bolts came out. If you look in the screen in there, there's metal flakes all over the screen. Everywhere. So we have a new screen. We're going to put that on. But those metal flakes are not scary. That's normal for these. Like I mentioned, it has a steel belt with pulleys, and through the operation, how it runs and how it works, it's normal to have metal flakes. That's why the screen is here, to catch those. So that screen full of debris, although it's not that big of a deal right now, is one of the reasons, I'll show you the other reasons here in a minute, but it's one of the main reasons why I say to change your fluid at a minimum of 50,000 miles. Maybe even 30 or 40,000 miles, depending on how rough you drive it. The idea that you could just drive these and just keep going and change the fluid at 100,000 miles, you will destroy your CVT transmission. I don't care what the dealer says. I don't care what the service schedule says or your owner's manual. It's all lies, guys. These things fail because of lack of maintenance. They're kind of a clunky design. It's kind of not the best transmission out there. But if you service them, they can last. And yes, it is expensive. Every time you got to do this, you got to buy the fluid and the filters, but it's way cheaper than a new transmission. At the place I used to work at, when I replaced all those transmissions that year, it was $4,900 a pop. Boom, 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 lined up. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of fluid changes. That's more than the life of the whole car worth of fluid changes. So it is cheaper to just go ahead and service it. If this screen gets covered in debris, it won't be able to draw up fluid. It can actually block off flow. But that's just, like I said, that's just one of the things that can make it fail. Let me show you inside of this pan, these magnets. I'm going to show you guys the fluid here in a minute, but right now we're focusing on these magnets. The last time we serviced this, Junior Matt had that off and we cleaned the magnets and it was brand new, sparkly clean. Now there's a whole sludge of metallic debris on these. It's just very thick on there. You can see it actually moving the debris around when I put my screwdriver on it. Obviously we're going to clean that again. Those magnets exist to catch larger debris or even the fine powder, both. As it drops into the pan, it absorbs that onto the magnet and keeps it from getting into the rest of the system. But if you don't do the services and clean that, the magnet will get so caked with particles that it's not really effective anymore. So now that stuff's going back through the transmission and tearing it up. Here's the filter we're changing out. You can see it's nice and yellow colored, brand new looking filter. Let me show you the old one. Not yellow anymore, black. Black as midnight. This is only 20,000 miles, guys. I've changed out automatic transmissions on your conventional everyday automatic transmission after 100,000 miles that aren't even this dark. This isn't from hard driving, we drive it normal. This is the nature of a CVT transmission. They're very dirty. So exactly how dirty is it? I just showed you the fresh fluid. It's nice, bright green fluid that I can actually see through. Let's pour out the old fluid into a bowl. All right, here we go, guys. That's as black as motor oil that's not been changed in 50,000 miles. I mean, it's just, wow. There's a big difference between this and that. You can also see some debris. It looks very metallic. You can see it cascading down the pan. Very dirty after only 20,000 miles. So as you just saw from the service we're doing, it is disgusting inside of this transmission after only 20,000 miles. The death of these transmissions is persons who are not interested in maintenance, not interested in doing anything to do with keeping their car alive. They just drive it and drive it and drive it. They may say in the owner's manual or the service schedule, 100,000 miles, no problem, service it, or even don't service it at all. That is based on the fact that they want you to drive the vehicle into the ground and come buy another car, a new car. Now, if you don't want to drive it into the ground, you have to service these. Like I mentioned, you can't be negligent and just, yeah, I need to service my CVT. I don't think I'm going to mess with it. It drives fine. And somebody says, when's the last time you serviced your CVT? I don't know. You can't be that way with the CVT transmissions. Really, you should do it every year. Most people drive 20 to 30, some people 40,000 miles in a year because they have a long commute, like Mrs. Wizard does. You should probably do this every single year, once a year. After 3 or 4 oil changes, on that 4th one, maybe the 5th one, go ahead and include a CVT service with the filter, the screen, and all new fluid. If you just bought a used car with the CVT transmission, the time to do the service on it is now. Immediately. Don't put it off for 6 months or a year. Oh, I'll get to that one of these days. No, you won't. And then it's going to go to pot on you, and then it's time for a new transmission. Just as you've seen when we were dumping the fluid out, they are not tolerant of poor service schedules. They will rake you over the coals, and they will empty your wallet if you don't pay attention and get this done. If you do follow like I'm doing and change the fluid, keep fresh fluid, get all the metal flakes out, they can last quite a long time. I can expect 200,000 miles out of this transmission based on constant yearly services on the transmission. So if you follow this, you can make a CVT last. You can get some life out of it. Let me show you a couple more things I changed over on this car. We just swapped that out today, some hubs, and we resurfaced the rotors. And then I think that'll be it. As I was driving, I've been noticing a roaring noise from the front that's getting louder and louder as time goes on. And when I turn sharply one way or another, it gets louder. And it is one of these guys. It's very rough if I turn it. The hub had actually gone bad, and they're cheap enough on this car that I went ahead and just had Junior Mint do both of them. Now it has new hubs, and as you can see, we resurfaced the rotors while we had it apart. As you can see, we resurfaced the rotors. You can see the nice shiny new hub in there. No more roaring noise, and nice smooth brakes while we're at it. I've been amazed actually keeping this car how cheap the parts are. I think the hubs were like 40, 50 bucks a piece. When I changed the window regulator out, I was expecting 200 bucks or something crazy price. It was like 60 bucks or 50 bucks for the motor. The regulator was fine, I just replaced the motor. This filter kit was like $40. Everything's really cheap on here. I was amazed, and that just makes me want to keep it that much more. So as strange as it looks, as goofy as it looks, it serves a purpose. It's comfortable for me to ride in and get in and out of. And it's really good on gas. 30 miles per gallon is nothing to scoff at with something you can haul cargo with.
And the wizard's not getting speeding tickets.
And you're not going to get a speeding ticket in this thing. I don't even know if it'll go over 90. I've had it on the highway at 80 and it's really starting to struggle. So yeah, you're definitely not going to get a ticket in this thing. So I definitely wanted to do a video to show you guys, once we got that pan off, how bad it was after only 20,000 miles. As an instructional video to tell you guys, take care of your CVT and it'll take care of you. If you ignore it, it will leave you stranded. They're really that bad. They don't tolerate being sloshed around with dirty, nasty debris in it. So if you're interested what kind of tools we use to actually work on this today, check my Amazon affiliates link in the description below. And make sure to hit the subscribe button because we got a lot more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.